Test is sponsored by We Are Wrestling. You can find
Make sure to subscribe, baby.
What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host, the best one, Donnie here, with our official co-host for We Are Wrestling moving forward.
What's going on, everybody? Danny Huckins back in the building. 260 Pure Rage. I also do a bunch of content here on YouTube. Donnie, what is going on, man? Are you excited to be talking about some wrestling?
Oh, I'm absolutely excited to talk about some wrestling. Not talking through a webcam anymore. Had to upgrade. We got the new microphone for the setup. Absolutely awesome. Sounding great. Hopefully it comes out great. But of course, if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet, recommend you to hit that subscribe button now. Turn on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO. And of course, you already know the grind is real. And the grind is literally real because we are almost at 300 subscribers. We are constantly growing. Danny's growing over on his watch along channel, Danny H Vlogs, right? That's the channel that you're on.
Yeah.
Which that will be in the links down into the YouTube description below. So if you guys want to go watch along with him, you can.
Yeah, we watched AEW Dynamite last night. We're gonna be watching SmackDown on Friday tonight, the day you guys see this show, this episode, and we're also gonna be doing a watch along to Revolution. So you guys are not gonna want to miss it.
Oh yeah, and I still have to figure out what I'm gonna do for Revolution. I think I'm either gonna do a watch along or a reaction. I haven't really decided yet. I might do watch along.
I mean, you can do a watch along, but I really dig the reactions, man. Like, you know, you've been getting up there in views and, you know, popularity because of them.
Yeah, so to the We Are Wrestling Maniacs that are tuning into the talk show, let me know in the comment section below. Do you want to watch along or a reaction? Most likely it'll probably be a reaction, but there will be no quick takes for this week's episode of the We Are Wrestling talk show, because there is lots of juicy topics this week. Like, I'm talking, like, juicy, like a nice steak when it comes to these topics. And earlier today, the day we're recording the talk show, Vince McMahon appeared on the Pat McAfee show. They had a live stream during it, and this is, I believe, Vince McMahon's first non-WWE appearance since the whole thing with, I think, Chris Benoit, right?
I think so. This is his first interview since like in the last 15 years or some ridiculous number like that. I watched it, man, and speculation was running wild going into this because Sean Ross Sapp, Dave Meltzer, all these guys, you know, all these big massive publications when it comes to pro wrestling were saying that this was going to set up a match between Pat McAfee and Vince McMahon at WrestleMania. And there's a little bit of news, man. A little bit of news that came out of this. One is Vince McMahon is officially going to be the one to induct Undertaker into the Hall of Fame.
Yes, which I think there is no better person to induct the Undertaker than Vince McMahon. Maybe Kahn, but I know with all the, you know, crazy tweets that Glenn Jacobs has been putting on, like Max Caster dissed him on Dynamite, which was hilarious.
That was funny.
But yeah, I think there's nobody better to induct him than Vince McMahon. If you watch some of the WWE Network documentaries, you definitely can tell that the two have that like friendship, like they're family.
Oh, absolutely.
They love each other, and I think like there's no better person to induct him than the chairman of World Wrestling Entertainment, Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
Well, Vince McMahon is pretty much the one that created the Undertaker gimmick. If it wasn't for Vince McMahon, the Undertaker would cease to exist, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and like that's the one thing I want to say about this interview was I was really impressed with the way that this whole interview went. It was very smooth. I think that Vince McMahon, like, because I know obviously he doesn't trust a lot of people. He keeps his circle small. And I think, like, for him to make a non-WWE appearance, I think what better way than to go on Pat McAfee's show, someone who respects the WWE product and somebody that actually loves this sport.
Yeah, Pat McAfee is a very entertaining guy, man. Outside of the stuff that's going on between Roman, he's like the most entertaining part of SmackDown, and really
I love it
Like
when
he
Shinsuke
was like
Nakamura comes out, he be friggin' jumping
he
on
gets
top of
on
the
the
commentary
yeah,
table.
yep, he gets on the announce table, starts dancing, starts moving around and doing the juke and everything.
His energy is absolutely amazing.
Pat McAfee is a great interviewer. Did you see the interview that he did with Brock Lesnar a couple weeks ago?
I have not actually gotten the chance to see that. This is actually my first interview watching the Pat McAfee thing.
They
Besides,
have
I did watch a thing of him and Adam Cole, like a part
yep,
where they built the storyline. But this is
yep.
my first actual time listening to an interview.
I definitely recommend either tonight or tomorrow. I definitely recommend. It's like 49 minutes long. It's like just like the interview from start to finish. You know, you don't have to watch the entire stream. Watch the interview that he did with Brock Lesnar. You'll see a different side of the Beast Incarnate. It's fucking awesome.
Oh, Brock Lesnar is fucking awesome.
But
But what are
Pat,
your but what's your thoughts initially on this whole interview thing? Like, how do you feel about Vince McMahon now than you did before?
I feel pretty much the same. Throughout the interview, he was saying that he caters to the WWE fan base, and he loves his fans. He loves pro wrestling and this and that. All you got to do is watch the product, and that's he's full of shit pretty much. But there was like 70,000 people watching the stream, so he's not just gonna fucking out himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of
I mean,
course.
Pat McAfee knows how to conduct an interview and make it entertaining. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and
So
he knows how to stay professional as
I
well.
I feel like if it was anybody else, it would have been a train wreck.
Oh, absolutely. And my opinion about the thing, like, I think that like the WWE product, there is lots of issues with it, and that's something that I really feel like Vince McMahon is not seeing. I feel like he has too many yes men around him, a
Yep.
horrible creative team, and I think because of the business side of things doing good with WWE, being that mainstream platform, I think like he just looks at it from, oh, profit wise, we're going up. So what's the problem here? But I think he's not looking at it from the logical standpoint from us real wrestling fans out there, not the typical, not the people that just switch their channels every 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And I say this a lot during my watch longs, and people actually get mad at me for it. But the thing is, us as viewers and us as people that consume and love this business, like if we don't stand up and we don't critique the things that WWE is doing, you never expect anything to change. You gotta not let them insult your intelligence. What I feel like they do 98% of the time.
Yeah, like they did on Raw with the opening segment there. Literally, Chad Gable got more over with that crowd than Seth Rollins and friggin' Kevin Owens, who are former world champions for WWE. That's for me,
Exactly.
that's mind boggling. And I think,
Yeah.
well, okay, but now with the other side of things with Vince McMahon, like I really saw a lot of like Vince McMahon, like not the character. I really and that's the thing I really respected about this whole interview is that we got to see a different side of Vince McMahon. And I remember Bryan Danielson in his Player Tribune
Yep.
article that he wrote when he left WWE that a lot of people don't really get to see that the certain side of Vince McMahon that you know I got to see. And I think we really kind of got a little bit of a glimpse of that Vince McMahon on this because I kind of understand a little bit more like how Vince McMahon works. His brain works very different than I think the average human being.
Well,
I
obviously.
think he said in his interview that when his brain's on something, he's always thinking of like two other things. So he
Yep.
has like three different wheels running around in his head. But
Well, let's just put it this way: the guy's like almost 80 years old, and he deadlifts like 1,000 pounds. I mean,
yeah,
he's human,
eats
but
healthy
he's
as well.
he's more like a mutant, man. Like fucking like X-Men or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like you could tell Vince McMahon definitely cares about his health and he takes care of himself. And like even with the gym, like he even mentioned in the interview as well that it helps him not only physically, but it also really helps him mentally get through this thing that he doesn't even consider a job because of how much he loves this business. And the thing I really liked as well, and I think I get this from Vince McMahon, like why now he doesn't call them wrestlers because he did address that. He likes to be different. And I kind of respect that from being a small content creator because we're always trying to be different when it comes to our videos and stuff.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Like I said, Vince McMahon as a human being, as a person, I mean, he could be one of the coolest dudes on the planet. But with the way his product is structured and the things that he does, releasing talent, not pushing certain talent, having the show revolve around 2 or 3 big mainstay guys, main eventers, like it doesn't show me that he genuinely does care about the product.
But there's one thing I really caught during this interview. Like I was like trying to pay attention a little bit to like when Pat McAfee brought up the release talent because obviously like you have to clear the air in the room there and like I kind of like when I was like watching Vince McMahon's body language because I know he looks at body language as a big thing. Like for me, I felt like Vince McMahon, like who he wants in WWE is people that don't really have big egos. And I feel like he wants people that they have to respect the business, they have to respect WWE and how they are. And they also, have to adjust. They can't just care about their characters or themselves. They have to do it the WWE way because that's how things have been operated for decades.
Well, Donnie, that just pretty much says it all, man. Don't expect for me and you to ever get hired by WWE in any kind of capacity ever.
You're right about that. No way, because you see, we talk about wrestling. We're not wrestling observers out there. We are wrestling maniacs. We are fans of this sport. We love watching wrestling, and for us, watching WWE, yes, they sometimes have good things, but a lot of it has not been that good. Like AEW Dynamite, like damn, so many good things that like I literally like had so many reactions to where like I couldn't even react to the main event. I had to just relax and enjoy the main event.
Last night was definitely a great show, and we'll get to it. We'll get to it later on in the show. But you have to remember something about this whole interview, and I went in with the same exact mindset. Pat McAfee works for Vince McMahon. He works for WWE. There's a lot of questions that I felt like he should have asked, but I feel like he was told beforehand, he can't talk about certain things, he can't mention certain things, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, there's certain things that irk Vince McMahon.
It did not feel that genuine just knowing that Pat McAfee works for him. You know what I mean? It would have been different if it was somebody on the outside.
Yeah, and I think that's why Vince definitely took this interview. But the thing I got out of this interview was that, like, I got to kind of see that different side of Vince that we don't really get to see. And that was a really cool thing, I feel like. Because I think a lot of these wrestling fans, like, we all think that Vince McMahon's this evil piece of shit. When realistically, like, he's running a business at the end of the day.
I did like the fact that they mentioned a lot about the Monday Night Wars and Attitude Era and, Vince McMahon getting hit in the head with a bedpan by Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That was one of my favorite.
Hands down. I mean, look at any top 10 list from around that time. That segment is going to be on it because it was just so historic in the world of pro wrestling.
So many awesome Attitude Era moments. And, like, that's like, besides the AEW figures, that's kind of like where I started to recollect my wrestling figures was with Attitude Era figures because that's like my favorite time in wrestling.
Yeah.
And which I will be having a big video actually coming out within the next couple weeks about my updated wrestling figure collection, because in case we are wrestling maniacs don't know out there, I used to be an OG wrestling figure collector, had lots of friggin' bins. I had almost all these figures and I sold them at a certain point in my life for quick money because I needed it at the time, and now I'm actually rebuilding my collection, and there will be a video coming out hopefully within the next few weeks or months.
A little behind the scenes fact that nobody's gonna know besides me and you until now is that me and you met because we used to live across the street from each other, and I used to go to your house and we used to backyard wrestle on a trampoline. I remember one time I went to super kick you, and I think I accidentally knocked one of your teeth out, and your mom and dad were mad at me.
Yeah, no, I remember that. We were having like a little street fight. I think we were having a street fight like right in the middle of like the friggin' road, and then you super kicked me. I think it was like 2 teeth, and then I had to like I had to actually go to the hospital for that, and I actually had to get them like fully taken out from that. Thank God they're baby teeth though.
Yeah, it was a really messed up situation, but hey, man, we were big fans of pro wrestling. But I used to go to your house, man. You used to have like big like bins full of like wrestling action figures or whatever, and you had everybody. You had everybody from Kane to Ken Shamrock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock. Name it, and you had it, man.
I had the friggin' Ruthless Aggression. I had like the basics, the elites, the deluxe ones, the big ones, the small ones. It didn't matter. I was very into wrestling, big time.
Yeah, man. But that's a little backstory on how me and Donnie know each other. So there you go, a little extra in this episode of We Are Wrestling.
Oh, yeah, getting into our personal lives. Soon we're going to have TMZ at our house. But now, moving on now to our official topics now, since we got over to Vince and the Pat McAfee thing.
Technically, we didn't get over it because we never mentioned the other thing that happened.
Ooh, what else happened?
Vince McMahon notified Pat McAfee that he is going to be performing at WrestleMania.
You see, I would be okay with this, like, if we already didn't have, like, 3 celebrity matches, but we have Johnny Knoxville. He's about to wrestle for the Intercontinental Championship. We have Logan Paul wrestling against the Mysterios, and now we're going to have Pat McAfee, which, yeah, I'd rather have Pat McAfee than the other two, but, yeah, we already have...
He pretty much proved himself back in the cage match when he was on NXT or whatever.
Yeah, him and Adam Cole actually had a good match.
Pat McAfee can go.
Yeah, he can.
I don't think this is going to be a match against Vince. I think it'll be a match against Austin Theory. If I had to name anybody,
it's got to be Austin Theory.
I don't see anybody else unless it's like one of those gimmick matches where it's like it's Michael Cole versus Pat McAfee.
It's got to be Austin Theory because like what else is Austin Theory?
I don't see any other viable option.
Yeah, I definitely see that happening, like him sneaking up on SmackDown and probably attacking him.
Probably.
Yeah, so now let's get into something that happened on Monday Night Raw. Our first actual topic here, we have Edge and Damien Priest. They have turned heel on Monday Night Raw. How do you feel about that?
Well, for the last couple of months,
I say we start off with Damien Priest, then talk about Edge.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. That the last couple of months, Damien Priest has hinted that he was gonna turn heel. You know, every time he would lose or something would happen or he'd get disqualified, he'd just go into like a rage, or every time he got kicked in the face or hit in a certain spot, he would go in like a rage and start yanking his hair, whatever. They have been planning this for a couple of months. I didn't know when it was going to happen. I didn't know WWE was going to have the balls to take the U.S. title off of Damien Priest and put it on Finn Balor on a random episode of Monday Night Raw. You know what I mean? And I'm looking forward to seeing what else happens. I do think it's a good move. But like I said, WWE has a habit of making champions and then, going months and months and months without defending the title, and you end up, just forgetting that they're champion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think I said this in my reaction video. Finn Balor, like, there couldn't have been a perfect opponent to take that championship off of Damien Priest, who had a really dominant title reign, than Finn Balor, and I think that was a really cool surprise. I didn't really expect them to actually take the title off of him right there, because, like, it was out of nowhere. Like, you would think that, like, it would be a pay-per-view when Priest loses the title, but they did it before Mania, which I kind of like this because they could do a lot of things moving on with this, and I feel like Damien Priest and Finn Balor feud would be really good for Mania. They have 5 weeks to build it, and I think that this would be a really good match because maybe Priest can get the demon out of Finn.
Do you going into it, there have been a lot of instances throughout WWE and in pro wrestling in general that somebody can turn heel but remain the champion.
Yes.
I have a feeling that they put the title on Finn Balor because Finn Balor over the last couple of months, he's been a little bit upset about his booking. He got offered a spot in the Royal Rumble and he declined it. You know, he was over in Ireland or whatever drinking some Guinness. I guess he posted it the day of the Royal Rumble or whatever, saying that he was enjoying his time. I don't know. I feel like they put the title on Finn Balor to sort of make him happy or whatever, so he doesn't want to get released from his contract and potentially go somewhere else, if you know what I mean.
I feel like it's a good thing because with the U.S. title, I feel like Finn Balor is one of those superstars that can make this championship a little bit more prestigious. Damien Priest had a really good title run, don't get me wrong, but I think it's time that Damien Priest, moves forward after Mania for the U.S. title and focuses more on the WWE championship.
Do you feel like they should have kept the title on Priest and continued this feud going into WrestleMania and then taking the title off him and putting it on Finn Balor at Mania? I mean, I feel like the title it would have meant more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I feel like the thing about me when it comes to WrestleMania is I want to see a storyline. I want to see a nice storytelling, and I want a beautiful build up to this biggest show of the year. And that's something I feel like the AEW Revolution did with CM Punk and MJF, which
Absolutely brilliant.
we're gonna have to talk about that at some point. But with I think doing this, is good timing. I feel like so far, Damian Priest is one of those guys that got called up after NXT, and he has not fumbled it. He has actually been very good.
He's gotten a lot bigger than I thought he would. I thought he was just going to be one of those NXT talent that gets brought up, they job him out, and then he ends up getting released because of budget cuts. You know, WWE does have a habit of letting go a lot of older NXT talent go, especially ones that were brought in by Triple H. You know what I mean?
Remember, you get a nice video package, and then you get to squash people for 3 weeks, and then you become a jobber.
That's pretty much. I mean, have you seen all the comments or whatever every time WWE posts on their social media about Veer Mahan coming? People are like, man, he missed his flight. People are like, he got stopped by the cops. People are ruthless, man. It's hilarious.
Here's the thing: everyone talks about when this guy is coming. It's obvious when he's coming. It's going to be after WrestleMania. Like, it's common sense. Like, this is what they do. Like, everyone's wondering when Bayley's coming back. It's going to be after Mania. Rhodes, it will be after Mania.
I'm calling it now. Veer Mahan debuts at WrestleMania 72. He missed his flight and he got deported back to his country, so he couldn't make it until WrestleMania 72.
Oh shit!
We gotta have a segment on the show and just read all the comments, man. It would be hilarious.
Oh, I see it every day on my Twitter. Oh, it's hilarious. We are back with some more We Are Wrestling. Now, let's get into our next topic, which is not a WWE topic. Tony Khan, during one of his recent media... Oh, okay.
Guy.
Yeah.
You jumped the gun. We never talked about Edge. We went from...
Oh, good plug. Oh, shit. All right, guys. I am sorry there. Nice little botch that I made there. But yeah, let's talk about Edge's heel turn. Like, how can we talk about Damien Priest and not friggin' the Rated R Superstar?
This is what happens, guys.
Botches. Oh, not only the wrestlers make botches, but, we do too.
This botch was almost as bad as the botch on Monday Night Raw when Randy Orton got pinned.
Yeah, didn't he get really hurt from that, or was it?
I don't know, but you can tell that match wasn't supposed to end that way.
Yeah. Okay, so how do you feel about Edge's heel turn?
I like it. This is the most interesting storyline going into Mania. I would have said originally I was saying that I like the whole Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns storyline going into Mania. but I've heard some stuff that we're going to be getting into later in the show. I've been wanting to see this match since Edge came back at the Royal Rumble 3 years ago. I've always saw
They
him.
teased it in that Rumble match.
Huh?
The two actually went face to face in Edge's return in the Rumble, which I thought was
Yep.
pretty cool.
Yeah, but they never had an opportunity to have a one-on-one confrontation or one-on-one match until now.
Oh, and it's great.
Do I feel like they waited a little bit too long? Yes. Do I feel like this should have been, started maybe back in like October, maybe after Survivor Series or whatever, to give you one hell of a long build towards this match? Because this is the most interesting, and this is the match that seems like it's the most WrestleMania-esque kind of match that's on the entire fucking card. You know what I mean?
Besides Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, yes.
To an extent, yeah. But I like Edge. I've always liked Edge as a heel. Like back when he was a rated R superstar, remember? And he used
When I
smacked
was a kid, I hated him.
He smacked John Cena's dad in the face, and then John Cena threw him in the Long Island
Yeah,
Sound.
he pulled up into his house and stuff. Yeah, I remember that.
Like I've always enjoyed Edge as a heel, and I feel like it does work. It was a little bit predictable because I said in my watch along, I was like, he's gonna grab a chair and give AJ Styles a concerto. He hesitated, and then he ended up doing it. So it was kind of predictable as to what was gonna happen. But I'm really looking forward to the match, man. This is like the one match I'm actually looking forward to.
That's the thing. Like, this really has the potential of being match of the night. Like, this match, like, can go down in history, like, with Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle. Like, some of these, like, dream matches that we've had at Mania, this could be one of them that we're going to be talking about for years to come. And I feel like that this is long overdue. And as a kid, I hated Edge as a heel. I just hated Edge so much because John Cena was my favorite growing up. And actually, at that New Year's Revolution show in 2006, when Edge cashed in the Money in the Bank, I was there. I was there when it happened. Me and my dad went to Albany, New York for that pay-per-view, but unfortunately, a month before that, I got hit with a pyrotechnic from the Boogeyman, where it like bruised up my entire thigh, and then from there, like for pretty long time, I had a fear for fireworks. So then, when the intro of New Year's Revolution happened, pyrotechnics went off. I had a little bit of a scared moment, anxiety. So then, I actually did not watch the whole rest of the show, and I missed out on that moment. But I was in that arena, which is crazy.
I feel bad for your dad, man, driving all that way, and then you being like, "Nah, I don't want. I want to go home."
Yeah, which I still have my New Year's resolution chair, which is pretty cool as well. Which I think we did stay overnight, so it wasn't like he had to go home right after the thing. But we were in the arena for quite a bit though, which was kind of cool. But that's the thing. Like with Edge turning heel, I did not expect this to happen. This was a complete U-turn, and I think that this was a great twist because there's no reports out there saying that Edge was going to be heel. There was nothing like that. And he looks like a madman. Like his promo last week on Raw was incredible. And then going from that to like attacking AJ Styles, saying that he's Omos's bitch, I loved it. 10 out of 10. And I think that if you're going to have an Edge versus AJ Styles feud, you can't just have two good guys.
Yeah, I kind of knew from last week the Edge was something was going to happen. A lot of people were speculating that it was going to be Cody Rhodes or whatever, and I've been saying since last week, and I even told you, I was like, it's going to be AJ Styles. That's the only viable option at the moment.
Yeah, Cody's after Mania. It's definitely after WrestleMania.
That's if he debuts, man. He's still apparently not signed or nothing like that, so who knows what's going to happen. At this point, anything is fair game. This WrestleMania so far is turning out horrible. I will be doing a watch along to both nights or whatever. What night do you see this match being on? Night 1 or night 2?
Edge and Styles, definitely night 1 if they're going to have Roman and Brock on night 2. No way that they put the two at the same time because they want to fill up those arenas for both nights.
Yeah, and they're starting to give away tickets because they can't sell them. Nobody wants to buy them.
Yeah. For real, and they probably, a lot of the Texas fans, they're probably like really mad at Kevin Owens for some of the stuff he said, so they're probably like returning their tickets.
I feel like within the next week or two, though, we should be seeing Austin, if the rumors are true, and he will be facing Kevin Owens at WrestleMania.
You know what I feel
'Cause
like's gonna happen with that? I feel like Stone Cold's like not even gonna appear until WrestleMania. Hit him with
no,
the stunner. That's gonna be it. And like that better not be the friggin' Stone Cold match we get.
that's
Is
that's
gonna
not
be
going to happen because, like I
better not.
said, WWE's still trying to sell tickets. That's a match like Stone Cold. He hasn't wrestled since 2003. That's a match they're going to want to announce at some point.
Watch it.
Where
Watch it be Kevin Owens versus JBL
I mean, there's that possibility too, but
or Booker T.
I haven't heard anything on JBL coming being at WrestleMania. But we should, if the rumors are true. Now, I'm not a journalist. I'm not saying they are, so don't take my words with a grain of salt. If these rumors are true and Austin is going to be facing Kevin Owens at Mania, we should be seeing him appear on Monday Night Raw within the next 2 weeks, guaranteed.
Definitely. And like back to the Edge thing, I will say, like, yeah, as a kid, I hated heel Edge because he was going against my childhood hero, John Cena. But I will say, like, now, like being much older, I love heel Edge. Like growing up, like I appreciate it even more. Kind of
Yeah.
like JBL's heel run. Like everybody hated JBL's guts when he was the WWE champion around 2004 2005. But he, like, you look back and you appreciate what he did. And I think a lot of people, it's that same thing with Edge because Edge was a real heel.
Yeah.
Everyone hated his guts when he was a heel. Like, if he popped up on the screen and he had the money in the bank, you were pissed off.
Remember when Edge was I think this was like around 2010 or 2009 when Edge was a heel and Kane was somewhat of a babyface, and that night on SmackDown where he kidnapped Paul Heyman and made Kane go all over the arena looking for him.
Oh, Paul Bear.
Yeah, Paul Bearer. Remember that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was a great night at SmackDown, man. That was like in 2010 or something like that.
Yeah.
Edge has always been a great heel. He's always known how to work the crowd, get the crowd all riled up. I will say he's no MJF, but I do think Edge, like
He's still a real heel.
out of everybody in WWE, you actually take his words as the gospel. You know what I mean? Like you believe when he's saying something because he says it with conviction. He says it with meaning, and
Like the Miz
like
as well.
well,
And Randy Orton.
yeah, but a lot of these guys outside of the obvious, Randy Orton and Edge, a lot of these guys, like you can tell they're following a somewhat of a script. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just don't have that anger and that conviction in their voice, and
You're right.
I feel like WWE is missing that a lot.
Edge convinces you to hate him. I see what you're saying there. But now let's actually move on to an AEW topic here because talking about WWE, it's been, I think, almost like pretty much a half hour that we've been talking about WWE.
It's giving me a headache.
Yeah, I'm getting a migraine from it. So now let's talk about some AEW here. Our next topic for this week's episode of the We Are
We
Wrestling
got
Talk
Revolution
Show.
Sunday, man. I'm excited about it. Let's talk about
Oh,
Dynamite last night.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, so yeah, so with Dynamite, I thought that it was a really good show from start to finish. Like, for me, I was trying to do as much reactions as I can, but it was very hard because with reactions, you got to get them up on time.
Yep.
And there's just so many great things about this show that, like, I didn't even know what reactions to edit and upload. And then at the end of it, I had to just tell myself, like, as much as I want to make a reaction for the Hangman, John Silver, Alex Reynolds versus
That was a
Red
good match.
Dragon and Adam Cole, I had to just say, just hit the brakes and just relax. And
They duct tape Hangman up on the ropes or whatever and just start super kicking him. And Adam Cole was like, "This is mine" on Sunday, and then draped the title over Hangman's shoulder. That was a great match.
Yeah, it was. And definitely, like, we're going to talk about a lot more of this in our pay-per-view pay-per-view prediction video, which will be up actually later on after this episode airs. 2 uploads. That's right. That's what we do here on the VR Wrestling channel. But now let's get into this topic here. Tony Khan, during one of his recent media calls, reveals that he is waiting for Kenny Omega to return to introduce the trio belts. So in his recent media call, he said, I definitely think it's something that there's a lot of interest in. I've seen that, and we have a lot of great trios here. I am very interested in it. I will be 100% honest with you. This is the most blunt answer I could give. I am much more receptive to doing it when Kenny Omega's back, because I think this is going to happen. And when Kenny Omega's back, I think the trios division is that much stronger. We could do a great tournament now and have great trio division, but I think he would make it that much stronger, and I have so much respect for him, and I think he was such a great world champion for us, and I think we could have by far the best trios division anybody could put together with how strong our roster is and how many trios are already together and have the experience working together, and I would love for Kenny Omega to be a part of that. How do you feel about AEW potentially having a trio championships?
At first, when you first told me about it, I wasn't that crazy about it because, like I said, the good thing about AEW is every single title that they have, it feels like it has some kind of importance to it because it's not oversaturated.
It matters.
But having a trios title, I could definitely see one team being a huge contender for those titles, the House of Black. Malachi, Brody, Buddy Matthews.
But that's like what I'm trying to say here. Like with the trio championships, it's seriously not a bad idea because AEW with their records, if you look at the lower third titles when they come out, you can see the wrestlers' names, and then they look at the records. You have your single matches, you have your tag team matches, and you also have trios, which I think this would be a really good move for AEW because their roster is stacked. And I think a trios division in AEW is definitely worth having because WWE, they don't have the amount of worthy talent to have a trios championships, but definitely AEW does. You have the House of Black, you have the Pinnacle, you can even have like Inner Circle if they ever did come back as a trios. You can also have Death Triangle as another one, and also the Elite as well. There's a lot of trios in AEW that can definitely strive.
But like I said, I'm not
this championship fun.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not totally convinced yet. Like I said, I just feel like the more titles you have, the more oversaturated it gets, the less the titles are going to mean. I don't want AEW to be another WWE situation. You know what I mean?
As long as the trio championships, they could be on Dynamite and Rampage sometimes, but they also need to have the trios matches, a lot of them be on Dark Elevation, which I believe they already do that. Dark Order also would be a pretty cool trio champions.
Yeah, Dark Order. I thought the Dark Order kind of cheated a little bit, man, because they had two sets. They had 4 people in the tag team battle royal last night to contend for the match on Sunday. So
yeah, they had there's a lot of awesome, and I like that because that's how you know how stacked their tag team division is. Most of those guys weren't even like in last week's battle royal, which was really cool. And like that's so cool to see like how like diverse and how like great AEW tag team division really is.
Who did you want to win that tag team battle royal? My picks last night on the stream. I said either FTR or the Young Bucks. It had to be one of those two.
Oh, for mine, it was FTR or Santana and Ortiz. And during the ending there with Darius Martin and Matt Jackson, I was marking the hell out for Top Flight. I was really hoping Red Dragon was going to like try to screw the Young Bucks because then on Sunday, like if the Young Bucks tried to screw them, like it would create more chaos with that Elite and Adam Cole and Red Dragon feud.
Yeah, it kind of threw me off that they helped the Young Bucks pretty much win.
I really did like though how they put Darius Martin over in that match because he's been out of action for over a year, and they kind of gave that spotlight to him rather than Dante because Dante had it when Darius had the ACL tear.
Yeah.
But definitely with the trio championships, I think it's good that they kind of wait a little bit on that because they did announce the TBS title. I think the end of last year. So I think I think the trio championships have to be after Double or Nothing, after the Owen Hart tournament.
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, because especially if Tony Khan wants to do a tournament style for the trio championships, they have to wait until after the Owen Hart thing, because I believe after Revolution, they're going to start that tournament, which is going to be,
Yeah.
I think that's going to be really good.
I mean, like I said, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not totally ruling it out. You know, I'll save all my thoughts until it actually does happen. But I just don't want AEW to, go above what they need to.
Yeah, but they got a stacked roster, and there's a lot of guys on that roster that I really think deserve to have some championships, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because, like, in WWE, like, yeah, you have your 2 world champions, and then you have 2 tag champions, which I think is too much. You need 1 world champion, 1 tag team champion, and I believe, like, having the Intercontinental in the United States is good.
Yeah.
AEW, on the other hand, with their stacked roster, in my opinion, they need to have their world champion, which, in my opinion, besides the NWA World Championship, is one of the most prestigious looking world champions in today's wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I think having tag team champions will be good because their tag division's stacked. 6-man tag belts would be really cool because they do count the trios. That's like the main reason why. And I believe they definitely need 1 more mid-card championship for Dynamite and Rampage. But now AEW Dark, the ones that happens in Orlando, they need to have, I believe, a champion over there. I think for their developmentals, they have to have a
Yeah.
developmental.
A lot of the guys over there are small, so maybe like a cruiserweight kind of title or whatever.
Yeah,
Because notice a lot of people, there's like, they usually leave a lot of the bigger talent, like a lot of the bigger guys on like Dark Elevation, because that's in front of that's like before Dynamite and everything.
and
Um,
no women tag team champions, not yet until they get the roster a little bit more stacked up for their
the
women.
women's division in AEW, though it's a lot better than WWE, it still has a lot of work to do.
I don't know. I feel like WWE has a better women's division than AEW.
They have 3 people, man.
Who's the 3 people?
They have Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and Ronda Rousey. Everybody else, they prove every week that they don't give a shit.
Well, yeah, like with booking, but like I still think a lot of their women that are on their rosters are a lot more over than a lot of the women in the AEW division, which I really think AEW women's division is getting a lot better every week. I will say that because in the beginning it was not that good.
That's because in WWE there's no men's division. The most exciting shit that happens on SmackDown is the women. Look at the match between Naomi and Charlotte Flair.
Hey, but they got a stacked women's division in WWE though, because I think I think I've always said this. The women's right now, women's wrestling in WWE is what's keeping them going, in my opinion. With the 4 horsewomen, and you have up and coming women like Bianca Belair and Liv Morgan, Doudrop, which should be Piper Niven, in my opinion, but she's making it work.
I like Bianca Belair. And I was like really game for her to have a long, successful title reign, and then she got squashed in 26 seconds at SummerSlam. And
she better win at Mania.
People tell me to let it go, and I just can't, man. I mean that was fucking ridiculous. She had a hell of a match last year at WrestleMania against Sasha Banks. Now you're saying that she gets squashed in 26 seconds.
Yeah, that I can't get over that as well. Which I really hope at Mania Bianca wins. She has to win. Yeah, so now anything else about the trio championships before we move on?
Like I said, I'm gonna keep my eyes and ears open, see what they're gonna do with it. Maybe it'll be good, maybe it won't be. Who knows? At this point, anything is fair game at this point.
Hey, they have a lot of 6-man tag team matches on all their shows. I think that they definitely could use championships for that. So now moving on back to WWE, speaking of your favorite show.
Oh, yeah.
WWE will not be ending the brand split. According to Dave Meltzer, he said the deal here is that this unification match is, from what I am told, it's the same idea as the last time they unified the titles. Remember, like 2 years ago, 18 years ago, when they did, and then like a week later, they just handed the belt to Triple H? I
Yeah.
was told that there is no whatever in the modern environment not to have each brand, giving the two networks have a championship. So yeah, basically they're not going to be they're gonna pretty much not unify the belts.
If they're not going to unify the belts, there's no point in having this be a title unification match. And like I was saying earlier, and this is what I was talking about when I said that, there's some stuff involving WrestleMania that we'll talk about at some point later on the show. This is what I'm talking about. All my anticipation and all my excitement for this match just went right out the fucking window. There's no point in having a title unification match if they're not going to have the fucking brand split. What is the point?
There is no point in this at all. This reminds me of SmackDown versus Raw when you had
Which
this you had
one?
the 2000, I believe it was 2005, the first SmackDown versus Raw, and then you had to go to a brand, and then you go you have to keep wrestling, and then you go to Mania, and it's like a champion versus champion match, and then you win the titles, and then if you go to do the thing over, it's like the champions are back on Raw and SmackDown. It's so useless. This match, now there's no value at all because we all know it's gonna happen. Friggin' one of them is going to win, and then on the other brand, they're going to do a WWE tournament that's going to be so predictable to crown the new frickin' champion. So useless. And one thing I want to say, too, if they were going to unify the championships, can we actually get a better-looking WWE championship? Because that thing looks like a piece of trash.
I actually don't mind it. My favorite was the Winged Eagle belt. My favorite was the Winged Eagle belt. That was my favorite. What happened to the
spinner? Mine's a spinner, John Cena.
Well, I'm older than you, guy. What happened to the Universal title that was red?
Well, they went on SmackDown, so they turned it blue. And then the Fiend at some point turned it into the Fiend title.
Stupid. But yeah, my excitement for this match is just non-existent at this point. I'm hoping they reconsider this. They don't have... I understand when they first wanted to do the brand split back in 2002, doing the draft and everything, you had to look at who they had, man. They had RVD, they had Booker T, they had Lance Storm, they had Taker, they had Triple H, they had Batista was coming in a couple months. He was still jobbing, I think, at that point, or doing dark matches. They had Rey Mysterio, they had Eddie Guerrero, they had Chavo Guerrero, they had all this time. Brock Lesnar was there. The Rock was there, but he was there until probably 2003, and then he went off and started doing movies.
Eric Bischoff. Can't forget about the lit GMs in the Ruthless Aggression era.
But back then, I understand why they had a brand split. Who do they have now? They have Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and Drew McIntyre. Who else is in the fucking main event scene? Bobby Lashley's out for 4 months because he has to have soldier surgery. They have nobody. They have nobody. Yeah. And it pisses me off. They need to fucking end the brand split. I mean, it's better if... I'm sick of seeing rematch after rematch. No, that's all WWE is. Raw and SmackDown. How many times do we have to see the Usos versus the Viking Raiders, or Usos against, Los Lotharios? It's rematch after fucking rematch. If there's no brand split, all the stars can share Raw and SmackDown. I mean, you can go probably months without having a fucking rematch.
It worked in 2016, but after I think it was 2018, it kind of just fell off. Bad.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Yeah, so with the brand split, we know WWE, they're not going to end it. They don't really listen to us like Vince McMahon. He says he listens to us, but he really doesn't. It's not going to happen, and I think we all should have really knew this from the get-go.
Yep. And I apologize for having to go on that rant, but Just everything that WWE does irritates me to the point to where I want to snap.
Oh, of course, it definitely irks you, and I think, for a true wrestling fan, it irks the shit out of me too. I
Yep.
can't stand the product, what they're doing. And Mania looks so bad, and the fact that we have to deal with it for not one but 2 nights. I'd rather sit for like 10 hours and friggin' deal with the torture.
I do like the fact that WrestleMania is 2 nights, though, for the simple fact
Yeah,
that
I do too.
I mean, sitting there for 7-8 hours, dude.
Oh, I hate it.
When you could have like 4 hours Saturday, 4 hours on Sunday, it'd give you a little bit of a break or whatever, and you get 2 days of wrestling. If the card was good enough, this WrestleMania is gonna hands down be the worst WrestleMania in the history of WrestleMania existing, in my opinion.
You think the Performance Center Mania is going to be better than this one?
Probably. Because that was before they went on the mass release strike, and they had fucking John Cena versus The Fiend. They had Taker versus AJ Styles. They had Randy Orton versus Edge.
I was not a fan of that Fiend and John Cena match, and I got a lot of hate for that.
I wasn't a fan of it either, but
I love the Boneyard match. That was really good. That was a good last Undertaker match.
I do feel like they should have Undertaker wrestle one more time at Mania, just to have him, like, probably not this year, more like next year, maybe. But just like they have that one last match in front of a crowd. That Boneyard match was good, but I mean, for the Undertaker, somebody that has had a historic career like he has, I mean, I would want him to, go out in front of a crowd, getting the applause, getting the cheers, having, 100,000 people saying thank you, Taker.
I think that's going to happen at WrestleMania this year. I think he's not going to wrestle, but when they do the Hall of Fame thing that they always do during Mania, I think that Undertaker's going to have that moment, I believe.
They better do something, man, because
when it comes to the match, I think that it was a great way for him to end the way he did against AJ Styles. That was a perfect story.
Even the thing that they did, because obviously everybody knows at this point, Undertaker debuted at Survivor Series 1990. So they had, I think it was 2020 when they were still in the Thunderdome. They had like a little tribute or whatever for Taker at that Survivor Series. I feel like they need to do that again, but at WrestleMania, whatever. It needs to be in front of a crowd. It needs to have that atmosphere. You know what I mean? He's just such a historic figure. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, ask anybody on the street who knows nothing about WWE. They know The Undertaker. They know The Undertaker.
Oh, of course, one of the most iconic characters in wrestling history.
Exactly. I think they need to do some kind of special tribute at this year's WrestleMania, and if they don't, it's going to be such a fucking disappointment.
Yeah. So now, moving on to our next topic here. This is about this upcoming promotion that we've been talking about the last couple weeks on the show. Control Your Narrative will not be on TV.
I saw that coming.
You can watch it on a new streaming app coming this April, Pro Wrestling TV. How do you feel about that, Danny?
I told you this was pretty much going to happen. I was like, because I think last week and the week before, I was like, do they have a TV deal? Do they have a TV deal? No, they're going to announce in a couple weeks. And I kind of knew, because they're new, man. They're not like a Tony Khan. They're not like a Vince McMahon or whatever. They don't have the backing. They don't have, probably the ideas that a lot of these guys have. I kind of saw it coming. As far as this pro wrestling app, though,
I'm excited.
I'm kind of curious. Because I want to know if they're gonna be doing like a lot of like the big time wrestling and the Northeast wrestling shows or whatever.
Let's read. Let's get on Pro Wrestling Pro Wrestling TV.
Talk to Jeremy and see if we can make it happen, man.
Hey, maybe we'll get the We Are Wrestling talk show eventually on Pro Wrestling TV.
Would you guys like to see us on the streaming service, man? I say we should send in an application to WWE, see if we can get on the network.
I doubt that. They ain't gonna want to hear our criticism on their product because the truth hurts.
Hey, they allow Corey and Carmella to talk about sex on their YouTube channel.
Yeah, and I'm surprised they haven't got demonetized yet because, YouTube usually doesn't allow that shit, but okay.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, carry on with Control Your Narrative. What were you going to say about it?
Yeah, because like you've been ranting a little bit on the last few topics, I have to rant about this. Are you fucking serious, Ethan Carter III? Are you fucking serious, Adam? Are you fucking serious, Karrion Kross? Or, well, Killer Kross now. You guys were hyping this up so good. And then it gets announced to be on a streaming app. I am going to be getting the streaming app because I want to see this promotion, because I really think, even like if it's not on TV, it's still going to be really freaking good. And I think that they're going to take cinematic wrestling to a whole nother level. And with the Control Your Narrative, like, the wrestler has control of their narrative. And I think
that's pretty much what that's what they hyped up AEW to be like, man.
But the thing I like about this is it feels different. Something that we haven't really seen yet, and I feel like Control Your Narrative is going to be, it has the potential of being really, really good. I just hate that it's on a fucking streaming app and not on TV, because we need another promotion to compete against AEW. WWE does not really care about their product too much.
Dude, people complain that we have too much wrestling now on television a week. I don't think people's brains could withstand having another show on television.
Wait, what do you mean? If we get another one on TV, then no one's gonna watch WWE anymore. We'll have AEW in the other promotion.
Yeah, that's never gonna happen. We have 3 hours of Raw, we have 2 hours of SmackDown, we have 2 hours of Dynamite, we have an hour of Rampage, we have, so there's, believe it or not, there's some people that watch Impact, even though I don't know how the fuck anybody gets the channel that it's on.
Yeah, Access TV, which, yeah, I will not be getting the Impact Plus app. That will not happen. Get a TV deal. Get back on Spike.
Is Spike TV even around anymore? I don't think so.
I don't even think so either.
Impact put it out of business.
Yeah.
But I've been saying this for a couple weeks, you know. I kind of figured they weren't gonna get, you know, any kind of TV deal, whatever. You know, just because you have somewhat of a name in the pro wrestling business doesn't mean you know how to run a pro wrestling business. You know what I mean? And no television station or broadcasters or whatever are gonna take the chance unless you have a smart business plan. And we're talking about Ethan Carter III, EC3, and Adam fucking Shear. Okay, they're not exactly fucking.
Why can't his auntie Dixie back this up?
Didn't she get fired from fucking Impact because she was a bitch?
Dixie Carter. That's his aunt. Why can't he just ask for a loan from her and get a TV?
Dixie Carter wants to get dick down.
Dixie Carter, huh? She could be the backer. She can get this wonderful promotion off the ground on TV. I think that's very disappointing. Like, if I was Ethan Carter, I would block his auntie's number.
I wouldn't put Dixie Carter in charge of my fucking cat. Okay, there's certain things as a man you don't do, and you don't let Dixie Carter anywhere near a pro wrestling company. You just don't do it.
No, you don't. They had something really going good with TNA, and then when the Hogan Bischoff thing happened, that's when it went.
Pretty much.
But it's unfortunate. I am disappointed. I really thought maybe like Wyndham or something, like maybe like back this up or something, and they could have gotten a TV deal from it. But hey, it definitely still has a lot of potential, and with this streaming app, I am actually very curious to see what it's all about. I think I'm definitely going to have to subscribe to it for like maybe the first month and see what they do.
I'll do the free plan, the 7-day free trial. I'll check it out.
Day 6.
I'll check it out, but if it's nothing that I'm gonna want to continuously watch, I'm probably not gonna keep it.
Yeah, it has to blow. It definitely has to like blow me off my seat for me.
There's certain things that you have to do. There's boxes that you have to check, and if you don't check at least 3 out of 4 of the boxes, we can't do business together.
Absolutely. So now, moving on back to our regular program here. This is our last topic before the main event topic, which is going to be a big one for this episode. AEW plans to make ROH their developmental territory. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm not necessarily in agreement, but I understand. I feel like, yes, Tony Khan is the owner. He should have put somebody else in charge, have Ring of Honor be its own entity or whatever, put money into it, get a TV deal for it, and just let those guys go crazy. We have the Briscoes, we have O'Shea Edwards, we have a bunch of these guys. I think Bubba Ray Dudley was wrestling for Ring of Honor for a while. You have all this talent that could be going there. I don't think they need 3 developmental territories, because that's pretty much what Dark and Dark Elevation is.
Yeah, I feel like, Dark Elevation is more like their Sunday Night Heat Velocity, I feel like, for them. I feel like ROH as a developmental territory for them is actually really not a bad option, but you know what they need to do to really get it on there, get it
And
up
they
and
need a
going.
TV deal. And when you really think about it, ROH has always been somewhat of a developmental territory for AEW, WWE. Because of Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, all
I think
these
with
guys.
I think with the wrestling minds that they have, they can make this legitimate.
I would put CM Punk in charge of Ring of Honor. Who knows how long he's going to be wrestling? That could have been a good gig for him.
Well, they did say in the reports as well that AEW superstars are also going to be making appearances occasionally on the show. So it's not like it's just developmentals, which I
Yeah.
think is a good thing. Because they have I think over 40 people on their roster that are former Ring of Honor superstars. Well, wrestlers.
But if there's anybody that I would have put in charge of it to actually run it, put together the matches and stuff like that, I would have picked CM Punk, because he's been talking highly about Ring of Honor for years. You know what I mean?
You know who I would put in charge of this?
Oh God, who? Adam Shear,
No, this would be
EC3, Dixie Carter.
No, not EC3 or his Auntie Dixie. I would put, you know what I would do? I would have had kind of like how they did with the WCW and WWE thing there. Why not Cody appear? Cody Rhodes comes back and then he tells Tony Khan that I am the real owner of Ring of Honor or something. I don't know. I feel like Cody Rhodes would be really good at booking that.
When Tony Khan was like, I'm not Shane, this and that. Apparently he wasn't talking about Shane McMahon, but I thought he was. I thought he was referencing to when Shane McMahon bought out WCW underneath his father on Raw back in March of 2001. But apparently he was talking about somebody else named Shane involved with Ring of Honor. I know Ring of Honor. I'm not that familiar with the product though. I've watched a couple of the episodes or whatever on Fight TV, because that's where they used to stream a lot of the episodes. So I would watch it occasionally on there, but it's not a company that I really kept up with.
Yeah, and for me, it was the same thing because they never really had a legitimate TV deal. So it's I didn't want to go online and watch.
It's easy to watch AEW and WWE, especially WWE, because they're on TV. It's not like they're on an app that you have to fucking search it up. You have to find out where the app is and this and that. You know what I mean?
I definitely think that this has a lot of potential. Definitely with being developmentals, because it's technically
I do think, what if they did this? What if Ring of Honor got a TV deal with TBS or TNT and was on Saturday night?
That would be huge.
Kind of remember back in the day when ECW was on Saturday nights or whatever.
Yeah.
It was back in probably 98, 99, maybe 2000. I can't remember, but they were on Saturday night, closer to when they ended up getting bought out or whatever. But I think they should put Ring of Honor on like TBS or TNT. Seems like AEW has a really good working relationship with those two companies, and Ring of Honor can be on like Saturday night or something like that.
Yeah, which I definitely think TK, now that he's the full owner of Ring of Honor, he's definitely looking at those and probably negotiating deals.
And you know how they have the Battle of the Belts? They could have the Battle of Belts as a Ring of Honor event. So, because they usually have those events on Saturday, they could hold them on that Saturday's Ring of Honor event.
And you know what would be really cool? Like, the thing that would be really cool about this is, like, if they can just, like, cancel AEW Dark, keep Elevation, because I think that's cool, like, especially now. Like, I really enjoyed the Frankie Kazarian versus Angel from 5 of Dark Order. They
Yeah.
actually put on a really good match, and, like, Elevation is kind of watchable now. I've been actually, for the most part, enjoying it. I feel like cancel Dark and have Ring of Honor as, like, their developmentals, put guys like Brock Anderson, Lee Johnson, like even Christopher Daniels could even be on there as well, because he can help elevate these talent. And I think that this is just would be a great move for AEW, because they have lots of young prospects out there that need to have the more experience. And what better way than Ring of Honor, which Ring of Honor has, made a lot of wrestlers through the years.
Oh, absolutely.
Hall of Famers, easily.
Yeah, I mean, Bryan Danielson, Samoa Joe, CM Punk, I mean, there's 3 main event guys right there, then 3 future Hall of Famers.
But it was a really cool moment, though, to see Tony Khan. Like, because I saw a picture of him actually at one of the Ring of Honor shows, like sitting there with the Bullet Club shirt on as a fan. That must be so cool. Like, you go to a show as a fan, and then next thing you know, you own the fucking promotion.
Dude,
That's
he was
crazy.
he said it in an interview somewhere. It was around the time that AEW was, first getting announced and stuff like that. Apparently, when he was a kid, he might have been a teenager, like 16 or something at the time. His dad flew him on his private jet or his private plane or whatever to New York City to the original ECW arena so he could go to one of the ECW shows. And there's actually a picture of Tony Khan with RVD, and he's holding up a chair or whatever so RVD can slam somebody's head through it.
That's so cool. Wow. All right, so now speaking of Ring of Honor, our main event topic for this week's episode of the We Are Wrestling Talk Show,
Let's get it.
Tony Khan is officially the owner of ROH.
I saw this coming, man. I really did. I wasn't sure what the big announcement was going to be, and then when he announced it, I was like, I could definitely see that. I do think, like I was saying earlier in the last segment, I do think ROH should be, on TBS or TNT Saturday nights. Give it, from like maybe like 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. seems like a good time slot. It's early enough to where people can watch it, but they can still go out on their Saturday nights and enjoy their weekend. I'm excited for it. I heard a lot of rumblings around, and I think even you showed me this, if I remember correctly. A lot of people were saying that maybe AEW and HBO Max were going to be working out a deal for like some kind of streaming service, something like that. Like AEW was going to have.
I did hear something about that. Yeah.
So that's what I saw that before Dynamite started. That's what I thought the announcement was originally going to be, and then when he announced that he is now the owner, I mean that's a lot of intellectual property. That's a lot of. I mean, I think he spent like $40 million on it.
Yeah, I think it was. From what I saw, I don't know if I'm wrong here. I think it was 27 million, because Vince spent 7 million on WCW. Tony Khan, I think it was 27 million.
I heard anywhere between 30 and 40. So either way,
Hey,
man,
good deal.
Tony Khan is reviving this company. He realizes and he knows how important Ring of Honor is to the pro wrestling business. I think it's a great, smart move. And
Well, he had to acquire it, because All In, they have that in their library. The All In show, it was ROH who produced that show.
Yeah.
For them. And I feel like that, like what the owner said was really nice. I believe I saw it on social media. Ring of Honor's in good hands.
Yep.
And I think this is not going to be a situation like WWE with WCW and all the other promotions that WWE bought. I think that Tony Khan is going to definitely utilize AEW, whether it's or Ring of Honor as a developmental territory, which it's kind of always been that way, or
Yep.
if he's actually going to, make it a brand. I definitely can see a lot of different things happening there.
This is why I love and respect Tony Khan or whatever. You you barely ever see him on AEW television. He's like, he never puts himself to the forefront. He lets the guys go out and do their thing. He is a fan, man. He's a fan just like us.
And that's what wrestling was missing, because WWE, like, I'm sure Vince McMahon, deep down, he cares about the universe. It's just he has a bunch of yes men and a bunch of freaking business people that are running his promotion, and he doesn't really have that control.
WWE is far bigger than just a pro wrestling company at this point. Like, they are something
Well, they all
that...
remember what Vince said it in the interview, that it's all like he always didn't want to call it wrestling because he wants to be different, because that's like how his dad was, which you got to respect that from Vince.
To an extent, yeah, but...
To an extent. But I feel like with Tony Khan, this is just great, because now, like, especially their video packages are going to be even more awesome, because I love, one thing I actually really love, and like it's so underrated, is the Road to Dynamites. They do like these like really cool 7 to 10 minute videos, like showcasing what's going to be on Dynamite, and then they have their legends and like commentators and stuff talk about like the rivalry. I really like those, and I feel like now with having this ROH library on their hands with like Adam Cole and like Young Bucks and even Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, they can make some really cool video packages.
And you want to know what's awesome about this too?
Yeah.
The Briscoe brothers are the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. We could potentially see FTR take on the Briscoe brothers. They've been wanting it for months.
Oh, it's easily going to happen, because I feel like this is their way of bringing the Briscoes to AEW.
The Briscoes are the tag champions. You can't have Ring of Honor without having the Briscoes. They're the tag champions.
Yeah, but I think that like this is exactly like how like they're going to do this. I feel like that's how they're bringing the Briscoes into AEW, is by being the Ring of Honor tag champs.
I heard that Tony Khan wasn't that crazy about bringing them into AEW or whatever because of how ruthless and how they can be in certain aspects. So he didn't want them to be a bad image for the company. I think I think they need to bring them in, man. But the Briscoes are too good of a tag team to only be doing, independent promotions.
Hey, and they're up there in age as well, so I think having a nice solid run in AEW wouldn't be a bad thing for this tag team that has actually been a real legitimate tag team for decades with Ring of Honor. And like, I think now that Tony Khan owns Ring of Honor, like he can even have the Briscoes on Ring of Honor, and then they could even appear on Dynamite and Rampage at times, but still be a part of the Ring of Honor roster.
I still think Rampage needs to be on like a Thursday night, 2 hours, man.
Yes,
they need to be on.
Yes, we need 2 hours of it.
10 to 11 on a Friday night, man. That's not cutting it.
For me, I don't know. Wrestling on Fridays, like as a kid, I used to enjoy it, but like nowadays, because of how busy I am, not only running the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel, but also DBTV and Best One Network, I don't really have the time to watch wrestling on Fridays, which sucks.
There's really nothing that exciting. I might watch Rampage this Friday because Keith Lee's going to be on it.
Too.
And yeah, it's live in Orlando.
I'm excited for the triple threat match for the TNT Championship, and I kind of really hope, and I used to not be a fan of him in WWE, I really hope Andrade wins the championship. I feel like it's like time that Sammy Guevara moves on from the TNT title.
I can see it happening. But we'll obviously dive more into that during our prediction video because we're going to be going down the entire match card. So
yes,
don't miss out on that video too.
Yep, it will be up later on today. So if you guys enjoyed this week's episode of the We Are Wrestling Talk Show, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, help support this channel by hitting that subscribe button now, turning on the post notifications. Links down in the description below. on our YouTube page. You can go follow Danny over on his social medias, Instagram, and also if you want to go watch Danny's reaction videos, the link is down there, and also his watch-alongs as well. The link will be down there. And also, of course, my links will be down there as well if you want to go follow me on my social medias. And of course, if you're into basketball, you can go check out my DBTV channel, nothing but basketball content. And of course, Best One Network as well. I'm the leader of Team Best One. You can check all that out. The links are down in the description below. But of course, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, I hope you guys stay tuned for later on, because we're going to be giving our AEW Revolution 2022 predictions. And of course,
Awesome.
you already know, we are taking over. Peace.